Good morning, friends, and welcome back to Homesteading Hustle. I am Sarah, and today I'm going to start a little experiment. I'm going to start a sourdough starter. Now, I actually have not done this successfully yet. So I've been baking sourdough for a couple years, but I've always gotten my starter from a friend. And just recently, we finished up with the Feast of Unleavened Bread that is laid out in Scripture, which says to throw away or discard the leaven in your home and within your gates. So we used up all of our sourdough starter, and we're going to start fresh. And I've only tried this actually once before, but that was kind of at the beginning of my sourdough journey, and so I didn't quite know what I was looking for, and I gave up on it way too soon. So I am excited to just kind of experiment with this a little bit, and I'm going to do a free measure while I do this. So if you've seen my other sourdough feeding video, I don't like tedious tasks. So if it's something tedious that I'm going to have to take a lot of time with every day, I'm probably not going to spend a lot of time doing it. So to be completely honest, that's just the way I roll. So I'm going to free measure. So what that means basically is I'm going to take my jar, I'm just going to put a little bit of flour and a little bit of water in for the first day here. Now, sourdough starting, if you're watching this, you're probably familiar with the process. To get activation and to gather wild yeast from the air, you need to allow your water and your flour to gather that wild yeast. And so you have to allow air into your container that you have it in. And it's anywhere from a 5 to a 10-day process typically. Depends on a lot of factors in your home. So our home is a little on the chilly side, so it might take a little bit longer for mine to get going. I am going to use, you see our dogs wrestling back there. I'm going to use a combination of bread flour and rye flour. So today, just for this first little bit, I'm just going to use bread flour. And again, I'm just going to free measure it into this little reservoir here. And then I'm going to update you in live time, well, almost live time. I mean, I'll film it and then I'll post it each day that I feed it. So today is the April 28th, and it is about 7:45 in the morning. And I am on my way to work. So I'm going to do it right now, and then I'll probably either feed it tonight late when I get home, or I'll do it again tomorrow morning. And so you can expect probably a short form video. So this one is a little longer than shorts, so it won't be in the shorts feed. But you will probably find the rest of them in the shorts feed. And then at the end of it, once we get something bubbly, and I'm having high hopes here, I'm just assuming that this is going to work, and it will. But I will put them all in a compilation, and then I will have it so that you can watch it all together if you miss the shorts throughout the week. I just thought it might be kind of a fun experiment for you to watch along if this is something that you've wanted to do. Yeah, so let's just get this guy fed. So I'm just going to use this little jar. And actually, I'm going to angle you downward so that maybe you won't see my face anymore, but you can just see what I'm doing. So we'll go this way. Okay, so we have our jar here. Well, we have our rye flour. My friend Patty, actually, she's so sweet. I've never actually bought rye flour. I've just gotten it from her. She has an abundance of it from, I think she buys a big bag at Costco. So she had brought this to me. She's so sweet. So I'm going to set that aside. Actually, we're not going to use that today. We're just going to use just a basic bread flour and some water. So now we have a well. I know water can play a big role in your results, and so I'm just going to use our well water. It doesn't have chlorine in it or anything funky like that, no fluoride, which is what we want to stay away from. So I'm just going to, I mean, this is like, well, maybe a little less than that. We're going to start with a little bit today because we don't want to do a ton of discarding, although I do use my discard for things. We just don't need to go through a whole bunch of waste right now. So we're just putting in a teeny little bit, and we're just going to look for a consistency of a pancake batter. Now, like I said, I have never done this before, so we are experimenting together. I'm actually going to start with this one. So I put way too much water in there, so we're going to add a little bit more flour. And this is what happens when I'm trying to do this before work. So this is why I can't measure it, because I just really don't have a ton of time. So, ooh, this looks good. This looks good. Okay, so I'm just going to give this a nice stir. and then I'll show you the consistency, and then we'll give it a loose cover, and we'll just let it sit all day. All right, so let's see if I can get some out for you. So it's a little thicker, but we're just gonna roll with it. Hello everyone, it is day 2 of my Let's Make a Sourdough Starter. So I'm gonna open this from day 1. I did stir it once last night when I got home from work. So this is day 2. So if you can see there, we actually already have some bubbles, so that is pretty cool. This is seriously just flour and water. It's currently 11:45 on Tuesday, not Tuesday, it's not a Tuesday, it's Friday, April 29th. I don't know how many hours that is. Yesterday I made this at like 7:45 a.m. and I stirred it last night late, which was like, I probably stirred it at like 9 or 10. So we're gonna give it a little stir and we are going to feed it. I'm gonna actually give it a smell, just see what it smells like. It still just smells like warm flour and water. It doesn't have any kind of fermented smell yet. So this is all it is. So this is really, gosh, what is that? Like 3 tablespoons total in there. It's not very much. So we're gonna go ahead and give it a little water and flour for the feeding today. I'm not gonna do any discarding. It's just such a small amount that we really don't need to do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a little bit of water and flour. We're gonna use just bread flour again today. And at some point I might add in this rye flour, but we'll see. So I'm gonna start and I'm gonna add just the water first. And this is just water from our well, nothing fancy. If you do have city water, I would highly recommend just using like a bottled water of some sort. City water has chlorine and fluoride in it, and I would just advise not to use that in your starter. It can affect the results and you really don't wanna put that in your body anyway. So, all right, so we're just gonna give it a little bit. I think I'm gonna try to double it. So we're gonna loosen it up. Just do a little bit at a time. I'm gonna add a little bit more. It's still a bit runny. We're looking for pancake batter consistency here. Ooh, that's looking good. All right, kind of a thick consistency, pancake batter here. That is what we're looking for. As it sits, it will loosen up as the water absorbs the flour, and as it continues to collect that wild yeast in the air, it will start to loosen up for you. So here's where we're at today. This is day 2. I'm going to go ahead and cover it and let it sit again. So I will touch back again tomorrow. Hey, welcome to a Homesteading Hustle and my sourdough starter experiment. Still smells pretty basic. We have some bubbles here. I'm actually really impressed with the action that's happening. It shows that we are actually collecting the wild yeast in the air. And we're just going to give this a stir, and I'm actually going to grab a new jar to mix in today. So we're going to discard just a little bit of this. So I'll pour some into here and we'll mix right in this new jar. So I'm going to also add a little water, loosen it up, and then we're going to just add in a little bit of our flour until we get that pancake batter consistency. So it doesn't take much, and you just do a little bit at a time and just be patient. Really, I mean, we're not measuring here. Remember, we're doing a free measure style. Then just make sure you stir and it should be good to go. We are all done for day 3. Happy Sunday, friends, and welcome to day 4 of our sourdough experiment. Now, this is starting to smell a little bit fermented, and we definitely have a loose substance on top, which I believe is the hooch already settling in. And what hooch means is that it's hungry. So let's go ahead and feed this starter. So I discarded a little bit. We're going to loosen it up, and then we'll add in our flour. Now, because it showed signs of being hungry, I'm actually going to feed it twice today. So this one has been fed right here around 1 p.m. on Sunday, and I'm going to feed it again probably tonight really late, maybe right before bed. And I think what that's going to do is give us those extra bubbles that we need, that extra feeding and fermentation that needs to happen for us to have a really nice active starter. And we're looking for that consistency of pancake batter. We'll make it a little thicker today since it will loosen up a bit as it sits and absorbs that flour. Welcome back to a Homesteading Hustle and day 5 of our sourdough experiment. Now, I said I was going to feed this twice yesterday and I totally didn't, but it looks pretty good. So we're just going to keep rolling with this. It is 7 a.m. when I fed this, and I'm going to transfer it into my large container. So we'll do a little bit of a discard here. And I don't really discard it. I mean, I use it for other things, so that's no big deal. So we're going to loosen it up, add some water, give it a stir. We're going to add in our flour today. We're going to use bread flour and a little bit of rye flour today. I've heard that rye flour can really get this thing bubbly, so we're going to do that. So let's give it a little stir and get it nice and smooth. And we will see you again either later or tomorrow. Hello and welcome back to a Homesteading Hustle, and today we have official bubbles. Look at that pulling away from the side. How gorgeous is that? Now we are going to do our basic feeding today. We're going to pour some into the discard, and we can use that discard now. I'll make some pancakes this weekend. Then we're going to feed it, loosen it up like we have for the last couple days, give it its flour, and we're going to use that rye flour again. The rye flour did seem to really give it those bubbles. And what I'm looking for now is I want it to move in the container. I actually want to see this rise a little bit. So as much as we have these amazing bubbles and it pulls away from the side, I'm looking for a little bit of rise. And if we get that later today, I think we are just about ready to bake a loaf with this. So if you want to see if it actually worked, stick around. Hey friends, and welcome back to a Homesteading Hustle with my sourdough experiment. This is day 7 and it is officially ready to go. I could bake with this thing today, but unfortunately I have to go to work. So I'm going to give this a little bit of a feeding. So obviously we're going to discard a little bit. I'm actually going to discard a lot and just leave a little bit in the container. This will be great for pancakes on Friday. And I'm going to feed it like usual, loosen it up with the water. And then I'm going to add in the bread flour, which is just the rest of what I have in this canister, because really I gotta hurry up here. And I'm going to add in this rye flour. And this rye flour, I'm pretty sure, is what caused this thing to go crazy. I'm gonna give it one last stir before I put it in the refrigerator for the day. Now I'm gonna bake a loaf with this on Friday, but it's gotta go in the fridge until then because I gotta go to work. And there you have it, a 7-day sourdough starter made from scratch. Free feeding it, no fuss at all. I showed you literally everything that I did to this starter, and I know that you can make one at home. Please let me know if you have any additional questions on anything I did to make this starter, and if you want to watch the loaf that I made with this and exactly how to make sourdough bread, click this video right here. Thank you so much for watching, and now get to baking. I'll see you in the next one.